Your rising sign is the most personal placement in your birth chart, and when I'm talking about the rising sign, I'm talking about your personal perspective of the world, how you navigate around, and what attitude you take out and display to the world based off your experience of your environment. The rising sign is one of the big three things to know about yourself, what your sun, moon and rising is, so you can get a deeper understanding of your personality traits and other people around you actually. And your rising sign essentially becomes the starting point and the foundation for the rest of your birth chart. Now, Aries is the natural ruler of the first house in a birth chart, so if you're an Aries rising, then your birth chart is in the natural order that it's meant to be of this human experience that we live. Of course, it will very much depend on where your planets are and how they are aspected to how your rising sign plays out. Not all Aries risings are going to have the same experience, and there could be people out there who have a little bit of unclarity about their birth time, and you could be a 28-degree Aries rising. You might not be resonating with it, so you might need to check out Taurus rising just to make sure you have got the right birth time. It's so essential. But let's get into it. So Aries, this is the male fire cardinal sign that's ruled by Mars. So your chart ruler is Mars, and that's quite a domineering and strong chart ruler to have. So you see the world through Mars energy. So it can be a little bit combative, an impulsive environment that you sort of live in, an impatient environment really. But let's think about Mars a little bit more. So Mars is the hot red fire planet. It is our action, our energy, drive, intent, willpower. It has very much a sexual energy, and it also has very much a take energy. Mars likes to take with force usually. And the interesting thing with Mars here, it's the only planet that has its own orbit. It moves independently. It does what it wants. Mars does what it wants. And this is why Aries is a very independent sign. You do need to take into consideration a slight disclaimer here. You need to have a look, where is your Mars in your chart? Because, for example, if you have your Mars in exile in Libra, then you might not be so quick to the fiery temperaments of Aries risings, for example, or, Mars in Cancer, exactly the same thing. But if you've got your Mars in another fire sign, then you will be leading with your right foot with the Mars energy. Aries risings are natural born leaders. These are people who are very comfortable being in charge and would much prefer to be in a position of being in charge rather than being a subordinate actually. These are the type of people that will just, roll their sleeves up and take the ball by the horns. They're action orientated people and can be very impulsive too. Definitely act first and think later. That's a known fact for Aries. It's true. It's true. Obviously depends where your Mars placement is, but they don't tend to think first. It's impulsive. Now, this is obviously having Mars as your chart ruler is the reason behind this sort of impulsive nature that you have. Mars as your chart ruler means you kind of want to do what you want, when you want, and how you want, which doesn't always obviously work in life when we have to, share our human experience with other people. We can't all be about me, but Aries risings, it is more of an I am energy. It is more self-focused. As I said, Mars has its own orbit. It's independent. It likes to do its own thing. Now let's think about how Aries risings are with their communication. Now they're very communicative people in general. They've got Gemini in the 3rd, Aquarius in the 11th. They get thinking and communicating, but because it's Aries energy that we're talking about here, Mars energy, when they do communicate, they are super direct. They're very passionate communicators, but main thing here is that they're very direct. They don't mince their words. They do not try and fluff things up to make things sound all nice, to not hurt someone's feelings. No, they will say what they see. This is a sign that doesn't really have a filter. So regardless of the outcome of what they have to say, they're going to say it. They need to get it off their chest. It's just bubbling within, like they can't hold it in. If they see something that's not right, then they're going to say it. If they're asked their opinion, they're going to give their opinion, whether it's liked or not. Aries risings are not that concerned what people think of them. Aquarius in the 11th, they don't care. They're independent thinkers. They're about their own. So when Aries archetypes, Aries risings, when you are communicating, just know that it obviously does and can come across quite combative and aggressive. And sometimes it's assertive. There is a big difference, though, of course, isn't there, between being aggressive and being assertive, but especially if it's a topic that you're passionate about, you can be quite blunt and harsh, and that could hurt feelings of more sensitive archetypes. But again, you're not here to necessarily care about that so much, because you just say what you see. It's kind of like a pure honesty thing. Aries risings, they can't do bullshit. They can't do it. They haven't got time for that. So they're going to say what they see. Now, so let's talk about the reactive nature, and let's touch more upon the aggressive nature of Mars. And of course, how you display your Aries rising and your Mars energy is going to very much depend, as I said, where is your Mars in your chart? How is it aspected? For example, if your Mars is conjunct Neptune by a couple of degrees, then your Mars energy is completely distilled. It's a different Aries rising that we're talking about. This is just a general reading, and this is why it's important to get a birth chart reading, so you can get to know your own personal chart better. But just for a general rule, Aries risings are reactive. They are very reactive people. It's quick. This is cardinal fire, let's not forget. Cardinal fire. Cardinal gets things started, and fire is a quick energy anyway. So they have this very much impulsive side to them, very, very reactive. So if somebody says something to an Aries person and it hurts their feelings in any way, or exposes a vulnerability of theirs, and they're going to meet that back with like an aggressive nature, really. That's what they'll display outwardly, as in, you can't hurt me. If you're trying to hurt me, I'm going to hurt you 10 times deeper. That's sort of the Aries mindset. And if somebody shows an Aries rising person some sort of aggression, so they step up to an Aries, letting them know they've got a problem, Aries rising, they're going to meet that back straight away. They'll meet fire with fire. Any type of confrontation, any type of argumentative situation, they won't back down. They're not going to back down. They're not going to walk away from an argument or a fight. They will meet that straight away with the Mars energy. Now, Aries risings are known for having an aggressive side, of course, argumentative and combative, for all of those sorts of reasons that I said. As well as that, they are also extremely protective. So Aries, they're known for being the warriors. They're super, super, super protective. So if you had an Aries rising best friend, for example, and when there was a situation going down and someone was physically confronting you and trying to start a fight, you might want to have your Aries rising friend there, because guess what? They'll step up quicker than anything. They will protect you. They protect people in general. They're not into people being bullied and being picked on. Like, they'll put a stop to that. In general, have quick fire reactions like that. Aries risings, you don't have that much patience. You don't display that much patience anyway. I mean, to be fair, heavy Aries archetypes and placements are quite easy to spot in a person, in an environment, just because of how it plays out. It's a very strong energy, but Aries rising, you and patience, you don't have that much. You haven't got time for bullshit, as I said. So like, waiting in a queue, for example, like here in the UK, aren't we polite waiters? Aries are not about that. Can't stand waiting in queues, can't stand being stuck in some sort of unnecessary traffic jam. Like, everything they do, they want to be quick, they want to move fast, and they're physically active. They move around actually quite a quick pace, probably often bumping into things all the time just because of how quick you're moving. And, because you don't really apply thought before you do things, you have a reckless nature. And the thing is with Aries risings is that when you've had a moment and you've had an explosive moment, you also can calm down, alarmingly quickly too. You will kind of get over it. You won't sit there and dwell in it for ages, because that's not what cardinal fire does. Cardinal fire is not about dwelling, it's about doing. This is an action orientated sign. Mars is in Aries in my birth chart, so I really do understand the 0 to 100 real quick thing that happens. It's the instant, it doesn't take a lot really for us to reach anger. We can reach the feeling of anger in the click of a switch. It's alarmingly fast, but at least once you start learning yourself through astrology, you can at least explain why you're hot-tempered. Also, being a female with Mars and Aries, of course, means people definitely have this perception of more of a male energy that comes off from me like that, especially in certain situations. But it is what it is, you know. In society, it's not always right, is it, for women to be so assertive and combative? But if you're an Aries rising female, or just in general an Aries archetype, and you're physically a woman in this lifetime, then other people might find the way that you are a little bit like, oh, well, how come they're like that? Because people aren't so used to dealing with, or can find such direct, assertive women quite intimidating like that. But it is what it is. It's a strong energy. I can't hide from it. So the Mars in, not Mars in Aries, but Aries rising. So let's get back to that. You guys are super competitive. Let's face it. Let's not joke about it. You like to win. Genuinely, you like to win. The feeling of winning, and beating people feels good. So you like to feel that. It helps you, I don't know, like feed the ego in some way, make you feel more powerful in some way, or just to let you know that you're the best. Because Aries risings, you tend to want to be the best at anything. Whatever you do, you put a whole heap of effort in, you go hard, like it's all in, and you like to win. And even if it's down to something simple like, you know, playing a card game or friendly games, sports, whatever, with your friends, like, to you, the bottom line is you want to win that. Do you know what they do here in the UK? I don't know about other schools around the world. Please let me know. I'd be so interested to actually find this out. But here in the UK, they've got this new policy where at children's sports days, there are no winners. No one wins. Every child wins. I'm sorry. No. For Aries archetype children in the UK schools, that must feel so frustrating, because they want to win. And if they've won, they want to be given the trophy to show that they have won. They want to feel that. It must be very frustrating. I mean, luckily it wasn't in place when I was at school. You know, you used to be able to win, which is normal. You should, there are winners and losers in life. And I'm not sure what message they're giving to the kids. Anyway, is that in any other country? Aries risings are usually pretty active people. So whether that's like physically active, doing things all the time, or when they're at home, they're just going to be on task, always doing something. This isn't a sign that wants to just sit still and chill, like kind of itchy fingers. They need that stimulation. You know, Gemini in the third, they need stimulation. They need things to keep them interested always. Otherwise, they just, head just goes if they're not doing anything, and they're not using the action, energy and drive, and not pursuing something, and not achieving and aiming to do something. Aries risings don't do fake people. They're not about that life, and they can't really deal with people that can't accept them for who they are authentically, because the Aries risings, these people aren't going to change. They have got all the fixed signs in the fixed houses. So they have very strong, solid, firm belief systems. They're not going to change. They're firm. They have strong beliefs in themselves. They don't question themselves like that. They are very aware of their strengths and weaknesses, what they are good at and what they're not good at. And they have like a bit of a power really in using their relationships and connections, Libra in the 7th, Aquarius in the 11th, to help them get what it is that they want. So their weak spots, they will help. They will what's the word? Can't think of the word, so we'll go with use their relationships that they build, because they build strong relationships, Libra in the 7th, and they use their connections, Aquarius in the 11th, to help get them what they want. Now, Aries risings are very able to stay on task and stay focused, there is a difference there between an Aries sun and an Aries rising, for example, because Aries are very much known for getting things started and not finishing it, because they go all in, use all their energy, get things started, get tired or get bored, and like need something else, move on. But the difference here with Aries rising is that, you know, your houses are in the natural order. Taurus in the 2nd, Scorpio in the 8th, you have endurance when needed. You know how to display endurance when it needs. Even to be patient enough to see a task through to its end. With Scorpio being in the 8th, these people can go deep. If they need to go deep, they're going to go deeper than any other sign. They have Scorpio in the 8th. They have Capricorn in the 10th, so they understand about building. They've got that ambitious nature about them and the long haul game that's needed to build. You know, you don't just get things overnight. They understand this, which is slightly different from Aries sun placement. So you're seen as very strong, bold, confident, brave, someone that can be trusted. People would come to you to be a leader, to lead a team. Super motivating energy. You're definitely seen as a protector. People know where they stand with you because they know if they come and talk to you, they're going to get a very honest and blunt opinion on whatever the question might be. You're also seen as someone who's very well connected in society, who knows how to get things done. Someone who is seen as a forward thinker, a unique and independent person. And you've also kind of got like a bit of a sharp image. You do care about how you look, let's face it. You've got Leo in the 5th, Virgo in the 6th, so your appearance matters, and generally prefer to, you know, just look good. Like Mars is that, you know, it's got a sexy energy to it, Mars has, you know, so you will have a pride in your appearance, essentially. Having Libra on your ascendant means that in general, Aries risings, you like to be relatable, you want to fit in with people, you definitely have a value in close relationships, and will have a quite a desire actually to have a significant other in this lifetime. Now, the type of partner, or type of partner that you're going to want to attract really and have around you is going to be someone with those Libra-esque qualities. So someone who is a mediator, someone who is not quick to anger how you are, someone who is not as impulsive as you. You know, Aries risings, you're super strong, and you know, you can be quite combative, and you know, you have to be quite strong when you're out there in the world doing your thing. So when you're at home and you're in your personal relationships, you don't need that. You don't need someone who's really combative and aggressive and argumentative, because it's not necessarily going to work for you, because you're already that way inclined yourself. Because you have such a domineering energy, you also appreciate and need someone in a partner who is comfortable enough to let you be in charge and let you take the lead, not someone who wants to dominate the relationship. We have, you know, Venus rules Libra, so you prefer to have a harmonious relationship when it comes to your personal, close relationships. You need and prefer balance. Someone who is a good communicator and can keep up with the conversations that you want to have. Somebody that is not anywhere near as reactive as you are, and can probably say sorry a bit easier than you can. And if you had a partner that was just really calm and wanted to bring peace, being the peacemaker, that's kind of what you need. They are super determined and can go very, very deep. If they need to get to the bottom of something, look into something, trust me, they're gonna do it. They will look into that. They are actually quite private as well, quite secretive nature, secretive tendencies, and especially if it comes to talking about or revealing past traumatic things that have happened in their life. Very sexual energy, high sex drive. Aries risings, you've definitely got a high sex drive and enjoy and need a lot of passion in that area. It has to be passionate, but they can display extreme focus and dedication and fixation when they want something. When they want something, they're going to get it. They're going to find out a way to get that done. They are very much a free spirit and have a love for like higher knowledge, higher learning. And Aries risings, you probably learn very well from the Sagittarius archetypes and sort of how they operate, because Saggies are very, very good at listening to other people's opinions to help it form a basis of their own opinion. That's what Sagittarius do, whereas Aries, you're more of the what my opinion is that matters. So from Sag archetypes and the Sag energy, you're going to realise and see that maybe I should just not say something all the time and just listen. When you listen and you learn, but you have an appreciation of other cultures, of travel, the importance of having higher knowledge and a higher purpose. Like, you people understand why that needs to be. Super ambitious. So let's talk about this. Very, very ambitious. You care about status. You do care about your status. It's important to you how you are seen. You want to be seen as doing well to people, as in, if you're looking at me to see how I'm doing, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. You know, positions of power. You do like power, and you want to build and leave some sort of legacy. I also think with, because of course what I'm talking about here is Capricorn in the 10th, and I think that is quite a prominent placement in terms of the father figure. So the father figure might have also been quite a domineering or important part to your life, and you have a value actually, or respect, should I say. You have a respect for authority, you have a respect for hierarchy, that there's a chain, there's an order in how things need to be done. You also understand the long game of ambition, of what it really takes to reach the top. You know, it's not just an overnight thing. You know, you got to build, work, do all those things we've said till we got to this point. And you help do that with your progressive thinking. You don't want to think like other people. You want things to be tried and tested that haven't been done before, that have not necessarily been thought about. You like to be independent, very, very well connected. You know a lot of people, and you know how to use those people to help you get what you want and what it is that you're looking to achieve in this lifetime. And another very sensitive side to Aries is, of course, in your subconscious mind, you are sensitive. And actually, a lot of Aries Risings have a deeply spiritual sense to themselves. They, for example, like the topic of death, they will think in their minds, like they know they're going to see this person again in like the spirit realm. They have a spiritual side. They have a wild imagination. Aries Risings know how to dream big. Dream big. They dream of the future. They can visualize what is to come from the non-physical into the physical. They get that. They understand this thought process. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. That was my interpretation of Aries Rising. If there was anything that I said that you liked or could relate to, then drop me a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then subscribe. Come with me on my astro journey. And coming up in my next video, we're going to be talking all about the Taurus rising.